Hello? Hello? Good afternoon. I just need to rearrange my notes. Today I'd like to talk about glucose reabsorption techniques in type 2 diabetes. I realise that this is not the most exciting area of research these days, but they do make a difference. So where are my notes? I'm sorry, my slides aren't working. Well, I guess I'll just stop there. No one seems interested.
No one? You've got a crowd of one here. Don't you want to carry on?
Not really.
Alexa Dubois, speechwriter.
Martin Smith, I'm a doctor working on some peer learning projects.
I gathered that. And I'm guessing you have to speak to some pretty large crowds. So, you've got to go from being an okay speaker to a great one.
Maybe, if anyone would stick around for my speech.
Can I be frank, Dr. Smith?
Yeah, call me Martin.
Martin, your body language, your vocal delivery, the overall lack of passion for your topic, you need some help.
I know. I just get so nervous. My throat goes all dry, nothing seems to come out. Plus, I'm afraid people will just get bored.
Well, I mean, that rather depends on you. Public speaking is about two different elements, the presentation and the presenter. What do you say we get started?
Okay.
Today's speech was a disaster. All the interesting research you had fell on deaf ears. No ears, to be precise.
I know, but what can I do? I mean, what is the correct procedure? It's not like I have a checklist for public speaking.
Well, you don't. I do. Have you ever taken a course in public speaking?
I probably should have. I was pretty busy as a medical student.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. Fortunately, you have a speechwriter on hand, a.k.a. me. Pretty unusual for a doctor. Now, what do you say we get going? When is your next speech?
All right, let's have a look. I'll be the seminar at the pharmaceutical lobby meeting. They're a big deal, but I doubt my session's going to draw a crowd. It's tomorrow at 4:30.
Tomorrow? Yikes. I'm going to have to call in some backup. But let's get the speech plan first. OK, I'll try and put this into your language. Giving a good speech is somewhat like doing a procedure or giving a diagnosis. You follow a set of guidelines or a checklist, right? Well, it's the same with public speaking. There's a strategy. And no matter what the topic, if you apply a public speaking strategy, well, the chances are you're going to give a really solid speech. Maybe even great.
It makes sense. But aren't some people just innately good public speakers?
Well, yeah. I mean, some people have a real natural ability at addressing a crowd. But, well, fortunately for the rest of us, you can apply a public speaking strategy and do a darn good job.
Fair enough.
So, what's the first step?
Getting it out of the way as quickly as possible. Ouch!
There are 4 main steps. Each step has a set of tools and techniques at your disposal. Step 1, do your homework. Step 2, build your speech with the right techniques. Step 3, secure success with double checks. And finally, step 4, deliver your speech with confidence.
So what's my homework?
So nice to have such a willing student. Your homework is researching your audience, your goals, the environment that you're going to be giving your speech in. Now, tell me about your audience tomorrow. What are their interests? Why are they coming to hear you speak?
Well, they're an industry group, so I imagine they're more interested in results rather than techniques, but I'm not sure why they're coming to hear me talk.
Well, do you have a contact in the group that you could call?
Yeah, but what would I ask them?
Well, that's a good question. It would be useful to know how many people will be in attendance. Have they had similar events before? Are there any particular topics or subjects that they're hoping to hear about? And since this is a specialist event, you know, what level of the audience going to be at? Are they going to be mainly doctors or are they sales reps?
Isn't it a bit impertinent to ask all this?
No, not at all. It shows them that we're really serious about delivering a great speech.
I suppose so, but isn't it all a bit last minute?
Hey, it's never too late. Get on the phone. Hi, Michelle, it's Alexa. How are you? Great. Okay, look, I'm in a bit of a public speaking emergency. Is there any chance you can bring up some backup for tomorrow? Okay, that's brilliant. All right, yeah, I'll speak to you later. Brilliant. Okay, thanks. Bye. Oh, research complete. Okay. Pretty small crowd. It was a short speech. Well, that's good. May include some research directors from some of the big farmers. It could be a tough crowd. Okay, more homework. Have you thought about your goals and key messages?
Well, essentially, I'd like more funding for my research.
Right, okay, funding. Anything else?
Well, I'd like to see diabetes get more media attention.
Okay. Goals are clear now. More funding and more media attention for diabetes are the main goals. Right, that's our homework complete. Now, how do we go about step 2, building the speech?
We could take quotes from famous speeches.
Oh, I have a dream that someday all speeches, from the Queen's speech right down to the annual dog walkers' keynote lecture, will be written without the aid of their very own speechwriters.
Okay, point taken. But seriously, how do we go about structuring the speech?
Let's go on a walk, and I'll explain it all.
Well, I could use some fresh air.
Tip number 1, get the blood flowing before you begin your speech. Brought up giraffes for a while. Now, you see these buildings? Yeah? Well, they're all different, right? Some are old, some are new, and some are tall. And it's the same with speeches, right? They come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
They have to fit a purpose, yeah? So you might choose a tall skyscraper for a keynote address and perhaps a terraced house for a smaller breakout session.
I suppose most of my speeches have been of the terraced house approach. But don't you want to stand out?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's all very well and good standing out, but if you don't have a solid structure, you're just going to get blown over.
So what makes a solid structure?
Well, it's the simple things. Having a clear beginning, middle and end is essential, right? Now, the beginning is like your foundations of a building, right? You have to let the audience know where you're going to take them right from the beginning, okay? Then you build up your walls. You lead the audience in to the heart of your research, right? To the meat of your material. Don't lead them astray and go on a million tangents. In a well-laid-out house, one room has to logically lead on to the next, yeah? And it's the same with speeches. You have to clearly connect your different elements, right? And then the conclusion is like a good roof. No leaks, yeah? So you leave your audience with insight and inspiration, and you can either answer their questions at the end of the speech or later on offline.
Well, it's nice to be reminded of the right structure, but I still don't think it makes it easy to write an interesting speech.
Well, you're right. I mean, having a really solid structure will help you write a clear speech, but there are other techniques you can use to make it really exciting.
Well, such as?
Do you know what? I'm absolutely starving. Let's go and get some takeaway, and I'll tell you about the techniques of writing a really great speech. Puzzles, stories, and lists.
So, you were saying about puzzles, stories and lists?
Yeah, I mean, they're all good techniques, and they can be used either on their own or combined together.
I don't understand. What do you mean by puzzles?
Set a puzzle for your audience. Ask them what they would do if they were faced with a tricky situation or issue.
And then I solve the puzzle.
I should hope so. It works really well if you can do it all in a few phrases. And try taking a pause between the puzzle and the solution. Like this. We need to increase medical study volunteers without dramatically increasing costs. And then you pause. You give your audience time to contemplate this big issue. And then you offer your solution. Giving them more entertaining medical clinic space with PlayStations and DVDs, massage chairs.
PlayStations? Did I propose that?
Not that I know of. Now, stories. Stories also work really well. A story will connect you with your audience, right? But don't get lost or stuck in the middle. If you start it, you have to finish it.
Okay, so don't leave the audience hanging. And you said something about lists.
Vini, vidi, vici. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Education, education, education. Lists of 3 stick in people's heads, yeah? Why don't you tell me a story? Maybe about, I don't know, one of your patients or a research project, and I'll see if we can weave together a puzzle story and a list.
Okay,
See this? It's a biography of Alexander Fleming, the penicillin guy.
Oh, excellent.
I got this when I was a teenager, and it was one of the first books that inspired me to get into medical research. He didn't just do penicillin.